It's like, what were you doing with my drapes? The drapes that were hanging in the apartment. I never got the answer to that. Hi, this is Kari from Sky Properties, and this is a question that I took recently. It said, I purchased my first rental property, a 6-unit apartment building. What are some helpful tips you can give me? Dad always told me that small mistakes can become catastrophic, and I want to avoid any sort of trouble down the road. Becoming a property owner is a very complicated endeavor, and especially in California, small mistakes can lead to huge catastrophes. I can give you a few quick tips on how you might be able to avoid some of those. If you want to avoid liability, of course, you're going to check your property first. You're going to walk your property, look at your property, you're going to inspect every unit. You want to make sure you don't have any trip and fall issues or things that are super obvious, like a pull gate that doesn't close or a inoperable building front gate where you don't want to call it a security gate, but believe it or not, like little tiny things that can become catastrophic are things that you wouldn't normally think. For one, not having a manager contract and not keeping timesheets. That could be a $60,000 settlement in just 1 year of having that on-site manager as an employee. Putting a bad tenant in your building is a huge liability. Not only can they be dangerous or even be making or selling drugs out of the unit, they can chase away good tenants, which erode your financial stability right away. I just had a friend that owns a property management company that lives down the street from me here, and she said, I had this tenant and I didn't require renter's insurance. I saw that his floorboards were swelling and he saw that there was condensation on the windows but didn't think to tell me. And of course, that is an absolute sign of a hot water leak underneath the building. It causes condensation, which causes the windows to fog up, and it causes things to swell, and it's catastrophic. It is new everything. Between the heat that went on in the apartment and the water, it spread rampantly, and it was a complete, the unit had to be completely gutted all the way down to the studs. Cabinets, tile, everything had to come out because it was underneath and it went on a really long time. The other catastrophic thing right off the bat, make sure your pool light goes on at night and make sure your pool gate shuts completely. That is one of the #1 catastrophic things that can happen at an apartment building. Unlikely at a 6-unit because it's a small building, it probably doesn't have a pool. But for buildings that do have a pool, your pool needs to close completely and the light needs to come on at night so that you can see what's happening inside the pool through the fence. Trip and fall, you want to make sure that there's not anything larger than a 1-inch lip. I don't even like anything that big. I like to make sure there's handrails on the stairs, that the front gates are operational and work well. I've seen bad maintenance lead to catastrophic problems. Not putting something back the way it should be and having it leak, or deciding not to use an approved vendor for something where it goes wrong. My favorite one is when you hire vendors, you decide to go cheap on the vendor, so you save $10 a month, and then that vendor doesn't have insurance, and it ends up being catastrophic because one of their employees falls out of a tree while they're trimming it, and the next thing you know, that person's unconscious in a hospital, and that is definitely catastrophic, and that I've actually seen that happen. So as a property management company and as an owner, you don't want to step over dollars to pick up pennies. You want to save money where you can, of course, but don't do it where you're not getting the proper insurance for someone or saving just a little bit of money for someone that doesn't know what they're doing. You have someone, for instance, fix your roof that is just a handyman and doesn't fix it right, and then you flood an entire unit the first time it rains. And that's actually a common one here in Southern California because we don't get a lot of rain. And if you don't have a licensed, bonded, insured roofer that does the work, and then there's a problem down the line, you have no recourse.